New York Liberty head coach Sandy Brondello has been fired. Code red, everybody alert. Sandy Brondello is out on the market. We got a shark out on the market.
The WNBA just dropped the biggest surprise of the playoffs, and it happened in New York. The Liberty stunned everyone by suddenly firing their legendary head coach, Sandy Brondello. But here's the twist: what looks like trouble for New York could actually be a huge win for Indiana. For Caitlin Clark and Fever fans, this move screams opportunity. Many believe the Fever should jump at the chance and bring Brondello in as their next head coach. If you agree, this is the moment to say it. Grab Brondello now.
I think Sandy Brondello is the best option for us to get the Caitlin Clark of Iowa. Bring in Sandy. Bring in Sandy, and it's going to be showtime, because I believe if you get Sandy, Sabrina Ionescu's a free agent. Breanna Stewart is a free agent. We talking big business now. We talking big boy.
Let's be real, Brondello isn't just another coach on a list. She's the one who could unlock Clark's full potential and take her from rising star to true GOAT. With her experience, championship record, and sharp tactical mind, Brondello brings exactly what Clark needs: the freedom to shine and the structure to lead.
She's a great player. It would have been good for our crowd to see her, but hopefully they get to see her after post All-Star. You get to play them again. As for the All-Star, I'm excited to get to know her a little bit. I think that's the part of the All-Star. It's going to coach players that you haven't coached before and get them to know them a little bit and enjoy the whole celebration.
And that's where the real issue begins. The more fans push for this move, the clearer it gets that the league wouldn't want it to happen. Because if Caitlin Clark and Sandy Brondello ever joined forces, the balance of power in the WNBA would shift overnight. It would expose jealous veterans and tear apart the weak storylines Commissioner Kathy Angelbert has been promoting. In this video, we'll break down that agenda and show you why this partnership terrifies the league.
To me, Sandy doesn't strike me as a yes man. She strikes me as somebody, when she's talking to the general manager, she's going to speak her mind. She's just not going to, yes, GM, yes. Yes, general manager, I agree. Yes, general manager, I agree.
So how did we even get to this point? The Liberty had a strong regular season, no doubt about it. They were loaded with talent, won big games, and looked every bit like title contenders. But when the playoffs hit and the spotlight got brighter against the Phoenix Mercury, their weaknesses started to show. To be fair, injuries played a huge role. Breanna Stewart, Sabrina Ionescu, and Jonquel Jones were all banged up, but none of them backed down. They laced up and fought through the pain, battling for every possession. Stewart even dropped 30 points in that final elimination game, a gutsy performance for the ages. But heart and toughness can only take you so far. In the end, injuries and exhaustion caught up, and the Liberty's season ended in heartbreak.
27-17, ravaged by injury all season long. Jonquel Jones out for a good part of the season. Breanna Stewart dealing with a knee issue during the playoffs. They lose.
Here's the shocking part. After that tough loss, not a single player blamed the coach. Not one hint of doubt or frustration. In fact, the opposite happened. The team stood by Sandy Brondello, shoulder to shoulder, promising to come back stronger next year. Videos of Stewart, Ionescu, and others defending their coach spread online, sending a clear message: they believed in her. And then, out of nowhere, the rug was pulled. Just one day later, the Liberty's front office, led by their general manager, announced they wouldn't renew Brondello's contract. Just like that, she was gone.
The New York Liberty have let go Sandy Brondello. Well, in their terms, they will not renew her contract. In our eyes, they parted ways. She was fired, essentially. But not as bad as being fired, I guess. But that's just how we talk out here. Nonetheless, I'm shocked. She's been a coach there for 4 seasons. You look at the past 3 seasons, she made it to the finals in her 2nd season. She won the finals in her 3rd season, and they lost in round 1 this year. Outside looking in, you look at this franchise and you see that's a successful franchise. New York is a powerhouse in the W right now.
The reaction was pure chaos. Fans were shocked, analysts blasted the move as reckless, and even rival teams who could gain from New York falling apart were left shaking their heads. No one saw this coming. Nobody expected the Liberty to fire the very coach who had rebuilt their franchise into a powerhouse.
What would you say to those who question whether Sandy should be here next year to coach you guys again? I'm not saying I question it. There's just some people that do.
I mean, to anybody that kind of questions Sandy being here, like, this is a resilient group, and she has our back and we have hers. And the way that she continued to kind of, I don't know, deal with the cards she was dealt, like, was incredible. It wasn't easy for anybody, but she came in every day with a positive attitude and a mindset to put us in our best positions possible and best foot forward. So we're not going to be a team that points fingers. You know, there's a lot of us that could have done better this season, but we're still going to fight and show up for each other every single day, and I think that's what's the most important part. So we have Sandy's back.
Thanks, everyone.
Let's be honest, this isn't just a coaching change, it's the biggest mistake in Liberty history. They didn't just lose a coach, they lost the architect who built their championship culture. They lost their best shot at another title. And the ripple effects of this decision are massive.
I saw this news and I went, what the bleep? Literally, audibly out of my mouth, what the F?
So why are people calling this the worst decision the Liberty have ever made? Stick with me, because when you step back and look at Brondello's track record, her legacy, and everything she achieved in such a short time, it becomes clear why this move makes no sense. Sandy Brondello isn't just a good coach, she's elite. She's one of the most respected, decorated, and in-demand minds in the entire WNBA. And that reputation wasn't given to her, it was built through years of hard work, season after season.
2 WNBA championships, and the year before, in 2023, won the Eastern Conference title. I mean, what are we doing? She's got a .600 winning percentage and a ton of experience.
Look at her track record. She stepped in back in 2022 and instantly turned the Liberty into playoff contenders in her very first season that set the tone. Then in 2023, she took them even higher, leading the team to 32 wins, just 8 losses, and a trip to the finals. They didn't win the championship that year, but they sent a clear message: New York was back.
Last 3 seasons, Sandy Brondello, 32-8, made the finals, lost to the Las Vegas Aces. 2024, made the finals.
Then came 2024, her masterpiece. The Liberty won their first ever WNBA championship in a dramatic Game 5 overtime against the Minnesota Lynx. Brondello's squad clawed, fought, and made history. She delivered the ring New York had chased for decades. Fast forward to 2025, and the team was wrecked by injuries. Stewart, Ionescu, and Jones all played hurt, yet Brondello still pushed them back into the playoffs. Think about that, most coaches would have crumbled under that pressure, but she still got results. That's why the players stood by her so strongly after the elimination. And then the front office threw her out. No explanation that makes sense. No clear plan for what's next. Just a cold-blooded cut. It's not just messy, it's madness. And that's exactly why fans, analysts, and even rival teams are still calling this one of the worst decisions ever.
Moments after a painful Game 3 loss, Brondello said the group was, quote, very disappointed, but she couldn't be more proud of her players. We faced adversity this year, which happens in sports, but we left it all out there. And that's all you can ask of this team.
Here's the stat that really hits hard. In just 4 seasons with New York, Sandy Brondello racked up 107 wins against only 53 losses. That's not just a good record, it's the kind of resume most franchises dream about. That's the gold standard of winning and consistency. So when the Liberty's GM stepped up to the MIC and announced Brondello was out, fans weren't just surprised, they were stunned. This wasn't just news, it sent shockwaves through the entire WNBA.
Outside looking in, you look at this franchise and you see that's a successful franchise. New York is a powerhouse in the W right now. So what is the issue? What is the front office looking at? What are the owners?
Here's where things get even more interesting. The fallout didn't just put New York in the spotlight, it immediately turned attention to Indiana. Why? Because suddenly Sandy Brondello was on the market, and fans all across the league had one clear demand: Indiana should drop Stephanie White and bring in Brondello. That's how huge this firing was. The buzz wasn't soft, it was deafening.
The Stephanie White defenders are going to be thick and deep. I don't care. I don't. She's a clear upgrade. And you've got an elite, all-time superstar.
Scroll through Twitter, YouTube comments, and Facebook groups, it's everywhere. Hire Sandy. Bring Brondello to Indiana. Clark deserves her. Fans aren't making polite suggestions, they're making demands. Why? Because in their eyes, Stephanie White has overstayed her welcome. Too much talk of favoritism. Too many questionable rotations. Too many times she benched Caitlin Clark at the worst possible moments. The story fans are telling is clear: Indiana's progress isn't happening because of White, it's happening in spite of her.
Raina, you want to come for the party? Sandy, would you like to be in Indiana? Have you ever tried the Indiana barbecue out in the hood? Come on.
Fans are flat out saying, even if White wins, we don't care. For them, Sandy is the coach of Indiana's future. Think about that, they're not waiting to see if the Fever bring home a title. They're already demanding a change. And driving all of this is Caitlin Clark. Because honestly, the push for Brondello isn't really about Indiana, it's about the dream pairing of Clark and Brondello. Fans see the vision: a coach who understands Caitlin, trusts her, and unleashes her instead of holding her back. And that leads us to the real kicker, the part the league doesn't want you to remember.
I think we need to make a move to get Sandy Brondello to the Indiana Fever, man. I think this is Sandy Brondello with Caitlin Clark. This is the closest thing we would get to Lisa Bluter.
Think back to the 2025 WNBA All-Star Game. That's when Caitlin Clark shocked everyone by pulling off something no player had ever done before. She literally traded for a coach. Clark made sure Brondello was the one leading her squad. Let that sink in. A superstar captain reshuffled the All-Star lineup, not for players, but for a coach. That wasn't just a move, it was a statement.
Ever coach trade of any All-Star game ever. Just want to get your thoughts on that in your mind. First for you, Leo.
They announced it? Yeah. That you got traded? Yeah. Oh, I got to go look at all that. Traded? I have no idea what the teams are.
Second time in history now. Jeez, as a player. And I got traded, yes. My son hit me up after he goes, I've created history. This is awesome. I got traded as a coach. But look, I get to coach with Sabrina. I'm on Caitlin Clark's in Indianapolis. I mean, what a great show. So we'll go out there and have some fun.
And once they shared the sideline, the chemistry was obvious. Clark was dealing with a groin injury at the time, but Brondello didn't treat her like a bystander. She made Caitlin an honorary assistant coach. Clipboard in hand, calling plays, firing up teammates, Clark looked like she was already running the league, and Sandy was right there backing her up. Brondello even said openly that Caitlin could coach as much as she wanted. How often do you hear that from a veteran coach? Almost never. That's the level of respect Brondello has for Clark.
We can fix a lot of this we messed up. We can fix a lot of things that were messed up in the past off season. Let's fix it. Let's not be stubborn. Let's fix it. Let's go get Sandy Bron.
Fans saw it too, and they haven't forgotten. They point to that All-Star game as proof this is a partnership made for success. One fan put it perfectly: the Fever need to sign Sandy and move on from White. Caitlin and Sandy together are unstoppable. That's not exaggeration, that's conviction. But here's the twist that makes it even more explosive. Many fans believe the WNBA has an agenda against Clark, and by extension, against Brondello. The theory is simple: the league doesn't want Caitlin teamed up with the one coach who can unlock her full potential. And when you start connecting the dots, it's easy to see why people think that way.
I'm sorry. This is exactly the kind of coach. I've brought her name up a few times. I just never thought she'd be available to be.
Look at how this all looks. Sandy Brondello laughs and connects with Clark at the All-Star game, and then suddenly she's out in New York. Coincidence or calculated? Fans are even posting things like, "She smiled with Caitlin once and now she's fired." Sounds extreme, but considering how Clark has been treated, hard fouls ignored, her minutes cut, forced into schemes that don't suit her, does it really seem impossible? So why did New York even part ways with Coach Sandy in the first place? That's the million-dollar question. ESPN's reporting made it clear this wasn't just about one bad playoff run. This was about politics, power, and a franchise trying to flex like it's bigger than the league. According to their sources, the Liberty front office had been circling this move for a while. For Brondello, it was basically championship or bust. Title or gone. Literally.
The title, what exactly led to the parting of ways between the Liberty and Sandy Brondello here?
Well, Malika, I know you guys talk about this a lot in the NBA and in other sports, but it was really championship or bust for New York and for Sandy Brondello. And in fact, if they hadn't won the championship last year, we might have been having this conversation a year ago, which is maybe a little startling to fans outside, given how, excuse me for those noises, for how impactful she'd been for that franchise. But that is how bullish this organization is in New York.
Look at how this all looks. Sandy Brondello laughs and connects with Clark at the All-Star game, and then suddenly she's out in New York. Coincidence or calculated? Fans are even posting things like, "She smiled with Caitlin once and now she's fired." Sounds extreme, but considering how Clark has been treated, hard fouls ignored, her minutes cut, forced into schemes that don't suit her, does it really seem impossible? So why did New York even part ways with Coach Sandy in the first place? That's the million-dollar question. ESPN's reporting made it clear this wasn't just about one bad playoff run. This was about politics, power, and a franchise trying to flex like it's bigger than the league. According to their sources, the Liberty front office had been circling this move for a while. For Brondello, it was basically championship or bust. Title or gone. Literally, look at the optics. Sandy Brondello laughs and bonds with Clark at the All-Star game, then suddenly, she's out in New York. Coincidence or calculated? Fans are even joking, "She smiled with Caitlin once and now she's fired." It sounds dramatic, but when you remember how Clark has been treated, hard fouls ignored, her minutes cut, forced into schemes that don't fit her, does it really seem impossible? So why did New York even cut ties with Coach Sandy? That's the million-dollar question. ESPN's reporting made it clear this wasn't about one bad playoff run. This was politics, power, and a franchise trying to prove it's bigger than the league. According to their sources, Brondello's job had been hanging by a thread for a while. It was championship or bust. Literally.
I would expect them to really, again, be bullish in who they go after. We know that they are a WNBA franchise that invests a lot in a lot of resources, a lot of financial capital into these decisions. So I think it wouldn't be shocking, though, if they decide to go after maybe someone in the NBA, someone that we might be a little bit more of a non-traditional hire. I do think Sandy Brondello has a great shot of getting hired again. We know what she has done in this league.
And this is where Caitlin Clark comes into the picture, because New York's choice isn't just about them, it ripples across the entire league. Clark isn't just another player anymore, she's the face of women's basketball. Every move she makes is magnified, every word analyzed. So when a respected coach like Brondello praises her, acknowledges her impact, and dares to spotlight her importance, it shakes the old guard. It unsettles veterans who don't want to admit a second-year guard has already redefined the game. It rattles league execs who'd rather the spotlight be spread around. That's the part ESPN hinted at but never fully said. Brondello validating Clark's influence didn't sit well in certain corners of the WNBA, so while the Liberty can call this a business decision, fans see it for what it really is, a political move. But here's the upside. New York's loss could be Indiana's golden opportunity. Imagine Brondello on the sidelines next to Caitlin Clark. The league's most empowering coach paired with its most transcendent player. That's not just a fit, it's a revolution waiting to happen.
New York Liberty just fired their head coach. People are confused as to why, because they won the championship last year, they made the playoffs this year. In sports, there's always a scapegoat when things aren't going the way that they wanted it to go. Clearly, in New York, the standard has been raised. As Coach Tibbs learned with the New York Knicks, making the playoffs does not guarantee that you are safe anymore. They have raised the standard. They're sending a message to the fans, to the team, saying, we don't want to just go to the playoffs. We need to go to the finals and we need to win. So if it's not the players on the court that are changing, it's got to be the coaching staff. So unfortunately, that did mean Coach Sandy.
Here's the truth. Brondello isn't the kind of coach who treats Caitlin like a rookie to be controlled. She treats her like the generational leader she is, giving her the freedom to dominate. And that freedom is exactly what terrifies a league built on trying to contain Clark's impact. That's why so many believe the WNBA will never allow a Brondello-Clark reunion in Indiana. The painful irony: the perfect duo is sitting right there in plain sight. Fans see it. Analysts see it. And Caitlin herself clearly knows it. Yet the very people who should want to grow the game are the ones blocking it. So the question hanging over all of this isn't can it happen, it's will they ever allow it to happen? Is this just coincidence, or part of a bigger plan to keep Caitlin Clark from reaching her full potential? And if Brondello and Clark ever do team up, would it completely shatter the WNBA's balance of power? If you think the Fever should move fast and make Brondello their next head coach, drop it in the comments right now. Grab Brondello now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss an update. Click the video on your screen, and I'll see you in the next one.